Welcome back, Focus Learners, to another explainer. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. We're stepping completely out of the ordinary and diving headfirst into this world of pure sensory magic. We're going to be looking at a deeply philosophical and honestly just incredibly cool artistic analysis of an event unlike any other. It's the Stradivarius Bajo las Estrellas festival, held in the ancient stone-carved village of Pedraza over in Spain. And look, this isn't just your standard concert. As we're going to see from the writings of Franco Arteseros and the Virtual Creative Factory, it's actually a living, breathing synthesis of history, music, and light.
To really set the stage for you here, I want you to picture a number in your head, 45,000. What exactly happens when 45,000 flickering candles meet the timeless, totally weathered resonance of a single Stradivarius violin beneath the night sky? I mean, it creates an atmosphere that honestly defies simple explanation. But through the framework we're exploring today, we're going to break down exactly how this specific pairing creates what's described as a mythic dance between humanity, our history, and the cosmos itself.
Part 1. The Living Monument, Pedraza Stone Heart. Okay, let's dive into this. Pedraza isn't just some picturesque location or a passive backdrop. It's a literal living monument carved from ancient stone where the history feels incredibly tangible.
The narrow, labyrinth-like streets of this village act as a sort of vault for centuries of memories. To capture this feeling, author Franco Arteseros says the music played here awakens the very soul of the stones. It's like the ancient walls of Pedraza are just holding their breath, waiting for this ritual to bring centuries of whispered memories roaring back to life. You can actually feel that historical weight in the air.
Part 2. A Ritual of Light, the Sea of Golden Flames. Now we're moving on to the first elemental pillar of the festival, the candles. They represent the vital energy of life and transformation. So in this ritual, the candles are doing way more than just giving off light. They're described as tiny flames that stitch the past and present into a shimmering tapestry of light. As the sun sets on Pedraza, the whole village literally transforms into a sea of golden flames. And what's truly mind-blowing here is that observers note this visual beacon actually seems to pulse in perfect time with the rhythm of the music. The flames act as literal fragments of memory, creating a completely immersive environment.
Part 3. The Breath of Dragons, the Voice of the Stradivarius. This brings us to the second pillar of the festival, the centuries-old Stradivarius violin, which carries a sound so powerful and elusive, it's literally described as the breath of mythical dragons.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core dynamic of the entire festival. On one side, we have the flame, right? A visual beacon representing life and the vital energy of transformation. And on the flip side, we have the violin, a sonic beacon representing memory and the weathered resonance of history. When these two massive forces unite in the village square, they perform a stunning ritual officially known as la convergencia de la llama y el violín, the convergence of flame and violin.
Part 4. The Power of Silence, an Oratory of Sound. Now there's a logic here that goes beyond just the sound and the light. It's about what happens in the profound silence between the notes, which is treated as a highly sacred space just as important as the music itself.
A sacred space of silence. Let's just let that idea breathe for a second. The authors explain that this emptiness creates an oratory. In this profound quiet, the stones themselves seem to listen, and the soul of the audience naturally responds. It forces this intense sense of presence. It reminds everyone there that the truest power of this festival actually lives in the quiet, empty moments where memory is allowed to just echo.
Part 5. The Mythic Anchors, Decoding the Magic with Arteseros. Let's get into the conceptual framework provided by the Virtual Creative Factory, also known as Arteseros, which actually decodes the deeper philosophical meaning of all this.
Now what's really interesting about this slide is how these 6 mythic anchors bridge ancient tradition directly with metaphysical concepts. We've got dragons, representing the fiery breath of the violin's soul. Lighthouses, the guiding light of the candles piercing the night. Kintsugi, which is brokenness made whole. The oratory, that sacred space of sound and silence we just looked at. Formula E, acting as a modern pulse beneath ancient stones. And finally, the spring equinox, anchoring everything in balance and renewal.
Let's zoom in on kintsugi for a second because it's so powerful. It's the Japanese art of mending broken pottery with gold, highlighting the scars to actually celebrate the beauty within imperfection. The festival applies this on a deeply conceptual level. The ancient village of Pedraza has all these historical scars weathered by time, right? Well, the voice of the Stradivarius acts as a sort of ritual of sonic mending. It fills in those gaps, highlighting the historical scars of the ancient village and turning them into something beautifully complete. Now, another totally fascinating anchor here is Formula E. At first glance, it seems completely contradictory. High-speed electric racing in a medieval village? No way. But the framework uses it to contrast that ancient tradition with a modern pulse. So you have these weathered stones and a centuries-old Stradivarius, but they're infused with the speed and dynamic energy flow of modern innovation. It makes a bold statement that tradition isn't just stuck in the past. Progress and history can absolutely coexist harmoniously here.
Part 6. A Journey Beyond Time, the Stradivarius Frontier. All of this guides us toward the climax of the explainer. This entire mythic dance creates a frontier where the physical stone walls of the village genuinely seem to fade away.
The spring equinox, a perfect balance of light and dark, stone and sound, history and myth. So the crucial point is how the spring equinox ties it all together as a moment of constant renewal. This isn't just a nostalgic look backward at history. The equinox represents that perfect, delicate balance, ensuring that this whole emotional and spiritual journey is fundamentally about renewing ourselves and moving forward.
The flame of the past can ignite the future. This right here is the overarching meaning of the event. It's not just a concert to passively sit and watch. It's a deeply personal journey that connects modern participants directly to the cosmos. It reminds us that our ancient history, those literal flames of the past, is exactly the fuel we need to build our future.
So will you let the flame of the past ignite your future? As we wrap up this explainer, that's the question I want to leave you with. In the rush of modern life, how often do you give yourself the space to experience that profound silence? How often do you practice your own kintsugi to find renewal? The mythic pulse of Pedraza suggests that a real cultural synthesis is waiting out there for you, carried on the breath of a Stradivarius. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep reflecting, stay curious, and we'll catch you on the next explainer.